Hey guys, Batman v Superman is almost here, and I have a top 10 list for you. It's not live action though, it's animated. Hey everybody, this is David, and today I'm going to tell you my top 10 favorite DC animated films of all time. So these are my top 10 that, if you watch the DC animated films, I think if something DC has over Marvel right now, it's definitely their DC animated movies, because Marvel tried a lot of those and they failed at a lot of those so much that I think they even gave up doing animated films. So what do I think of DC's animated films? These are my top 10, and the reason why I'm doing this is because I've been wanting to do a lot more DC animated reviews, but unfortunately because Arrow, The Flash, and other shows that I watch, as well as the movie reviews that I do and everything else, I haven't had time to really review a lot of these new releases that DC keeps releasing. I think the only animated movies that I've done so far was Justice League, The Flashpoint Paradox, and Batman Assault on Arkham. So I wanted to do a top 10 list to show, hey, these are the animated films that DC has done that I've really enjoyed and that I think you guys should check out. So here we go, my top 10 list. At number 10, I have Justice League Doom. This direct-to-video kind of reunites some of the old voices that we are familiar with from Bruce Timm's animated DC TV shows, such as Michael Rosenbaum, who reprises his role as the Flash from Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, Kevin Conroy, who's done the voice of Batman for so long, Tim Daly as the voice of Superman, and even Nathan Fillion, who returned as the voice of Hal Jordan from Green Lantern Emerald Knights. This was a really good one, but the problem with it is it does do too much action and not enough story, but for the most part it is a fun film and I totally recommend it. And it's definitely one of my favorite Justice League stories from the comics that I actually read, called The Tower of Babel, and where Batman kind of has these files on the Justice League and betrays them because of it, because the information is stolen from his Bat computer. And so Batman gets a little bit of trouble in this one, but it's a really cool story, especially if you're a Batman fan. At number 9, I have Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. This is a really cool action one too. It's all about the action, and you see Batman and Superman teaming up, kicking ass together. It's just a fun film, and once again, it has Kevin Conroy doing the voice of Batman and Tim Daly returning as the voice of Superman. It's just great to hear them interacting with one another, just like back in Superman the Animated Series and Batman the Animated Series, when they teamed up back then. They have this nice little play with each other, which is a lot of fun to listen to and even watch on screen. At number 8, I have Batman Mask of the Phantasm. This is actually the only one on my list that has gone to theaters. People forget that Batman Mask of the Phantasm originally went to theaters back in 1993, and unfortunately it didn't do really well. But the movie has gained momentum since then. It did really well on VHS, and now is considered a fan favorite. I even remember watching a review from Siskel and Ebert, where they even apologized for not reviewing this film sooner, and even both of them admitting that it was better than the live-action Batman movies at the time. I mean, that's a huge compliment. At number 7, I have the newly released Batman Bad Blood. And this one, Batman Goes Missing, it kind of reminded me of that episode of Superman the Animated Series where Batman also goes missing, and Tim Drake and Superman have to go out looking for him. It's very similar to that storyline, and instead of Superman making an appearance, Nightwing teams up with Damian Wayne, who is the son of Bruce, which that's another direct-to-video, but it didn't make my top 10. I don't know how much I feel about Damian Wayne, but that's another story. I did really enjoy this movie, though, and I thought it was really fun and really cool, and I liked the idea of, Bruce's team having to go on without him and trying to look for him. It gave the other two characters a lot more interaction that we never seen in the previous direct-to-videos before, especially Nightwing, who's kind of been shafted a little bit in a lot of these videos. So if you're really a big Nightwing fan, you get a little bit of him in this one. At number 6, I'm putting Green Lantern First Flight. This is actually one of the cool ones that does not involve Batman and Superman. It involves Green Lantern. Now, do not mistake this one for Green Lantern Emerald Knights, which is one that has a series of little short films within a bigger film. This one is not really the origin of Green Lantern. They kind of get through that right away, but it's kind of a buddy cop movie, and good cop, bad cop. And Sinestro plays a very big part in this movie. Sinestro is the main villain of Green Lantern. And, you know, it was really cool seeing that interaction between him and Sinestro and seeing them work together in the beginning. I was actually hoping that this movie would have been what the live action movie would have been. But unfortunately, you know, I guess the studio didn't look up to this one very well. And they decided to go in a whole completely different direction with the live action film. At number 5, I have Wonder Woman. This Wonder Woman movie is a really great animated movie. I mean, the top 5 for me are some of my all-time favorites. And Wonder Woman, I remember, really surprised me on how epic it was as a small little independent animated film. And I think more people really need to check this out. And I'm hoping that the people involved with the live-action movie really look at this movie and say, yeah, this is what the live action film needs to look like. It needs to be violent, it needs to be dark, it needs to be cool. It can't downplay Wonder Woman. We gotta make Wonder Woman just as good as Batman and Superman. And I think this movie really does a great job. Believe me, if you haven't seen this animated version of Wonder Woman, check it out. It will make you impressed and make you really understand why Wonder Woman is considered one of the greatest superhero females out there today. At number 4, I have Justice League Crisis on Two Earths. And this movie was actually done in a way where this was originally supposed to be a episode or it was supposed to be somewhat of a group of episodes, I guess, for the Justice League animated series. And you can tell when you watch it that, yeah, it could have fit in that series. It was supposed to be the bridge from the first 2 seasons of Justice League to Justice League Unlimited. And they scrapped the idea for some reason due to budget or something and just went straight to Justice League Unlimited without showing this. And this kind of explains why the Justice League brought in other members into their group. And I really enjoyed this one because it feels like one of those episodes. And it was just a lot of fun seeing the characters cross over to another world. I like the idea of infinite Earths. The idea intrigues me, and it's something that the Flash TV series has really been playing with this season. If you really want to get a little bit more of a clear understanding of other Earths, check out this animated film. It really explains it nicely, just like the Flash does. And especially if you like the Flash this season, this might be a little good one for you. At number 3, I have Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. This is one of my all-time favorite films while growing up. I used to recite the flashback scene so many times when I was a kid. As a matter of fact, you can check out my Joker impression where I do that scene so in front of the camera. So you guys can check that out if you want. And yeah, I mean, I love this movie. I loved Batman Beyond when I was younger, and I still do. I still love Batman Beyond, and I just watched this movie again recently, and it still holds up. If you really want to see a good version, though, watch the uncut version. Make sure it's the original uncut version. That was the one that came after because they released an edited version where in the flashback, Joker is electrocuted and killed. You don't see him getting killed, but you hear him scream while being electrocuted. In the uncut version, he actually gets shot by Tim Drake. And it really is a more powerful scene, and I totally suggest for the older fans to check this one out. It's definitely a fan favorite. I remember there was even a petition to get the uncut version out, and it looks like it was one of the few petitions that actually worked. At number 2, I have Batman Under the Red Hood. This was a really great movie. I really enjoyed the voice work. Everything in this movie was perfect, almost. I will admit that I didn't think the Joker voice was that great, played by the actor who plays Bender on Futurama. You could totally tell they really wanted Mark Hamill for this, because he was trying to do his best Mark Hamill impression, but it just didn't work right. It was kind of cringeworthy at times, but it works fine. But the overall story is really great. And having Jensen Ackles as the voice of Jason Todd, this is his first introduction into like anything. Jason Todd has never been done in movies or in animated shows or anything. This was Jason Todd, the second Robin's very first introduction, and it was really great seeing that character brought to life and his story brought to life. And it's a story that I really totally hope to see on the big screen one day, and maybe it will because of a certain, costume that we see that looks destroyed in Batman v Superman. Finally, at number 1, I have Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox. This is my favorite animated film of all these movies that I just mentioned. Even though it's a Justice League movie, it's more of a Flash movie, if anything. Flash guest starring the Justice League. And it's actually the movie that made me want a Flash movie even more. And funny enough, this movie came out before the Flash TV series started. So the idea of a live-action Flash intrigued me more because of this movie. And I'm really glad that we have a Flash TV series now, because you can see that they are, even in the show, planting seeds for this story to happen possibly down the road. And I hope to see these characters in the future one day, even on film, because I think The Flash has a great cast of villains, and The Flash in general just has amazing abilities that no other superhero has done. I mean, time travel, alternate Earths. I mean, the endless possibilities you can do as a sci-fi superhero movie intrigues me even more with this character. And the great thing is, if you're a Batman fan, you'll just be as happy, because there's a really great moment in this movie with Batman and Flash. And Batman's father plays a huge role in this movie. I think it's a great movie for any DC fan. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to end it here. That was my list. What do you think? Were there any DC animated films that I left out that you guys really enjoy? Or do you agree with me? Are these some of the best? And I know I left some out that I wish I could have included, but this is top 10, so some are going to get shafted. And until next time, guys, take care.